Exactly 6 minutes past the top of the hour. You're right in time for our last conversation this Tuesday morning. We look at safeguarding the digital space, of course, taking cognizant of the Data Protection Act, which was enacted in 2019, regulations which came in 2021 thereafter. So then, how is just you and I safe as far as our data is concerned? What then do governments, institutions, companies, industries need to do to ensure that our data is protected? That is what you're set to converse in the next 40 minutes. I'm holding court with Brian Kimani Nganga, who is an entrepreneur, techpreneur, innovator, just the right person for this conversation. Welcome on board, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Let's just latch on this conversation from basics. We talk about digital literacy. We have over time said that the space is digital. I mean, the world is digital. And this particular government has even shown us that. In fact, on their first national holiday celebration, Jamhuri Day, that was the tagline of the, of that particular event. It was digital economy. And you're seeing what the ICTCS is doing again, also in regards to that. So the world is digital in every capacity. But then again, very quick, when you say digital literacy, what exactly are we talking about?
When you talk about digital literacy, we are usually talking about how to interact with computers, how to interact with machines to make life easier. Now, of course, as you know, there is a way in which you're supposed to interact with the machines. It is known as human-machine interfacing or human-machine interaction. Now, how proficient are you in interacting with that machine? Can you get the outcome that you like to get whenever you're interacting with that computer or with that machine? So basically, and also, it's also about the ethics that you're supposed to follow. When it comes to digital literacy, what ethics do you follow? Are you a good digital citizen? Are you able to abide by the ethics of the? So it's all about interaction. Are you able to get the outcome, and are you able to follow the ethics of the interaction with that computer, with that machine?
I hear you. And of course, we'll come to ethics momentarily. I mean, that would even form a big part of this conversation. Nonetheless, you did say about interaction, and I'm reading a lot of understanding even that space and the scope. To what extent do you think this is an area where we have tapped into, even as a country? Because you've talked over time about even bridging the digital gap, but do you even understand that there's a part for literacy in that regard to understand where you really are getting into as an individual?
I would, it's quite relative. Because now there are people who will understand the motive in which they want to use the digital platforms for, and there are others who will use the digital platforms just for exploration purposes. Now, the latter is quite, I can say, dangerous.
And the majority?
Yes, and it's also the majority. Because now the thing is, if you just want to use it for curiosity purposes, for example, let's say whenever you're using an app, there are usually terms and conditions. Do you read them? Exactly.
Like I don't. So social media of us just accept and go.
There are also some which I myself have skipped. But later on, I come to find out that since I did not read these terms and conditions, I just went ahead, used the app or used the digital space just out of curiosity. And to some point, I gave them information which they were not supposed to get. And that in itself, because I didn't have the knowledge or I didn't do the research on what I was getting myself into, that is what I'm saying, that most people don't actually know what they're doing. They're just doing it out of curiosity, and then now they get to learn along the way. And
it's not knowing because sometimes you don't really want to know. It's just because you really don't know. And this is part of what you're passionate about, Brian, in terms of knowledge, sensitization, helping people understand even the motive as to why you'll get into this digital space. So basically, when you talk about this sensitization, imparting knowledge, what exactly are you doing in that regard to bridge that gap?
So what I'm doing to bridge the gap basically is to give students or to give people the knowledge that they need, first of all, to understand how the digital space works. Because it's a double-edged sword. You can either use it to your advantage or it can wreck you, now based on the information that you have. Now, whenever you have that information, you will make decisions based on the level of knowledge that you have. So my main purpose is to impact the knowledge for you to know how can I use this digital space to my advantage, how can I benefit from it, and also what are the pros and cons, and how can I use them to my advantage also. Yeah.
Is this stemming out from your own experience, or is just a passion you developed over time? What is this? There's really a lot to talk about as far as data, digital space is concerned. What is this stemming out from?
It's actually a passion that I've had ever since I was a child. Actually, it came from a movie. There's this movie known as Iron Man. So when I saw the AI, it's known as Jarvis. When I saw the AI doing its work, when I saw the movie, I was like, you know what? I want to get into this space. I want to build something like this. I want to interact with such technology. So now from that point onwards, I went ahead. I'm trained in engineering, and that's when now I continued pursuing the passion. So self-taught robotics and software engineer and everything.
So this imparting of knowledge, sensitization, it spans across what? Or what demographic, or just anyone who's interested? How really do you do this?
Well, actually, it spans across all the ages. I can say so, because now you cannot actually segregate the ages, because you'll find out that there are even children right now who are as young as 3-4 years old who are interacting with these digital gadgets. They're interacting in these digital spaces. So if we can start to teach from the young to the old on how to use them, how to get the best out of them, and how to avoid the risks that are involved, that would be the best thing to do. So the demographics are vast.
It cuts across.
Yeah, it cuts across.
Well said. Now, how do you... Better yet, let me put it this way. When it comes to protecting yourself online, let's not even go to the age bit. Let's just talk about holistically, because almost everyone right now is in the online space. Can either be through your phone, through your PC, laptop, whatever it is. What are some of the safety nets that one needs to be looking into, even as they operate online?
Now, some of the safety nets that you need to look into is, first of all, whenever you're downloading that app, there's that tab whereby there's that link whereby you ask to read the terms and conditions. Actually, if you've noticed, it is usually in very fine font and very long paragraphs, because they really don't want you to go through all that. They want you to just get into the app.
So this is very strategic.
Yes, it's actually very strategic. So it's in very small font and very large paragraphs. But take your time, read about it, understand it, because now if you understand it, now from there you have the power to make the decision whether to download the app or not, whether to interact with that digital space or not. Again, whenever you're downloading that app, there are usually some questions that usually pop out, like, can I use your gallery? Can I gain access to your contacts? Can I gain access to your let's say messages and everything? Now, usually you click allow, because of course you want to use the app, because if you click deny, most of the time you won't use the apps. So what usually happens is that you're the one giving access to the data company or to the data platform to actually take advantage of you.
But then what do you do? Because you won't move further than that if you don't say accept and allow.
Normally what happens is now you have to sometimes bite the bullet, look for any other app or any other platform that does not require you to or does not infringe into your personal data, because right now data is key. Right now data is gold. And now whenever you're using those apps, you find out that you never pay for them. You never pay to download the apps, you never pay to use the apps. So what does that mean? You are the product. So what usually happens is, if you can find an alternative, for example, if downloading the app requires you to give out access to your let's say photo grid, why not try to use the web version? Because now the web version will not like, let's say, access your photo grid in your phone. Just use the web version. Just create an account, yes, but use the web version. So there are usually alternatives to, like, let's say, those apps which will infringe into your personal space. So if you can get an alternative, well and good.
But are we aware of these alternatives? Because as you speak, I'm really trying to think. like personally, I haven't come across any app that does not really require me to say yes to gallery, yes to contacts, yes to anything. And if you do not, you really can't move past that.
Yeah.
And you realize you really need to use this application. So then there's an aspect of awareness as far as data protection is concerned. What are we doing? What really are you doing in your capacity in that sense?
Well, what I'm doing mostly, again, is impacting knowledge, making people aware that there is the data laws, there are alternatives about it. There is also now, have you ever heard of something known as cookies? Whenever you are using a web page, they usually things known as cookies. So the cookies can regulate the amount of information that apps or websites get from you. And that's why there are some apps which have actually the manage cookies. If you manage the cookies, you give them the extent unto which they can get information from you. Because their main aim is to get as much information from you. You don't know to market your information to other people. Now the other, and then they sell your data. That is basically the main thing. So if I can help you understand that you can manage the cookies, in that you can manage the kind of data that you give, you can have alternatives, or you can try and avoid this app, for example, if you can. That is what I actually believe would be the best impact that I can make.
Okay, I hear you. I mean, well said. And you realize that also quite a number of applications would tell you this, or even just sites. You really want to read an article somewhere and they will tell you, we use cookies. And sometimes you realize, should you just go ahead and say, okay, should you just do the X button and cancel or it all together? But now we get the hang of it and the gist of that. Again, there's another aspect of ethics, and this has really come out a lot, and also part of what informed that data protection law enactment in 2019. There's lack of ethics in regards to how we use the online space that ends up to infringing the privacy of others when it comes to even just getting their data and their personal information. Where are we missing the point? We'll go back to that first statement. The world is moving digital. Everything is in the digital space, in the digital scope. So you really also can't avoid telling people not to move in that space. But one thing is lacking: ethics.
So when it comes to ethics, I believe that it can be enforced through the law. Because now there are people who will, there's this thing known as cyberbullying. There are people who will come and bully you in the virtual space. But now the law is against that. So the only way in which we can counter that is if we get to understand the law, the data protection law. Like, for example, did you know it's wrong for someone to give your phone number to someone else without your consent?
We just say, alinipea namba yako na kupigia.
Exactly.
And we think it's okay.
And you think
that is against the law.
Actually, if, for example, someone asks me for my friend's number, I should first of all call my friend, tell him that there is this and this person who wants your contact. Can I give it to him? But if I just...
So allow me to button and let me get it. And also purposes of context and understanding. So in an instance that person X calls me and says, I want Brian's number, and assuming I have your contact, and I just give them without telling you, you can actually sue me.
Yes.
Really?
I can actually sue you. Why? Because you're giving out my data without my consent.
Okay.
You are giving out my data without my consent. And actually, that's why I'm saying that it's very important for people to know the law. Because now, if you know the law, you know. Because actually, there are some people who will actually give out of goodwill. They don't know it's wrong.
I'm just trying to help.
I'm just trying to help you with this person's number, but they don't know that it's wrong. But actually, according to the law, that's wrong. So if we can have the knowledge on how the Data Protection Act, on what the Data Protection Act says, we can save ourselves from a lot of trouble and know the kind of ethics to abide by, because data is very, very sensitive. Very sensitive. So if you can know the law, if you can know how to go around other people's data and also your data, the best it would be for you.
So then, do you think having this law in place, because then from 2019 fast forward to 2021, when the regulations came on board and came on force, do you think having this law in place, of course it helps, but then does it aid in terms of bridging that gap? Why I ask is because even as we speak, even up till now, there are those who still complain of someone infringing their data or someone bullying them on the social space. And you've even had this even from school-going children who would say, I'm getting attacks online. Yet we have a law in place that is already in force and acting.
Yeah.
To what extent does this go a long way in protecting you and I's data?
It actually goes a long way because I have actually witnessed cases whereby a cyber bully is even arrested and even taken to prison. And that is very, very crucial because now if people don't understand that doing that is wrong, they will continue doing it. Actually,
do you think people don't understand it or they just do it?
There are people who just do it out of malice. Yeah, there are people who just do it out of malice, and they don't know. Even leave alone online spaces. Let's even talk about text messages. If I send you an insulting text, you can go report me and I'll be arrested. Yeah. So people should know that when it comes to cyberbullying, when it comes to writing insulting text, because now cyberbullying now maybe focuses on the online space, but also text-based, that is also very, very wrong. So the law protects us. And actually, if you can report this to maybe an ICT authority or basically an organization that is authoritative when it comes to ICT, action will be taken against them. Yeah, and actually it should be taken against them because it's wrong, it's against the ethics, it's against the law, because that is giving out your personal data to someone, that is insulting you, and also that is also defaming you. When it comes to online presence, you've heard of defamation charges?
Yes.
Exactly, whereby when you come and insult someone or when you bully someone online whereby other people can see, you can even file for defamation charges. That is very, very wrong, and the law protects us against that.
But I'm not so sure if we really know that we can be protected in that regard, that if you send me an insulting text message, that if you actually give my contact without consent, even if it may be goodwill, that is actually infringing on my data. Do you even know that exists much as we have the data protection law?
Now again, as I
That's
said,
where you come in.
Knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. Because now if you don't know that, you won't protect yourself, or you won't take any action. You will just, let me just ignore it and everything, and then just move on with your life.
Let me just be strong about it. That's what we say.
But now the problem is your reputation is on the line. And actually so many people nowadays, actually even potential employers, before they employ you, they have to look at your social media platforms. If they come across such things, what do you think will what message will be sent to them? Exactly. So you see, your reputation is on the line. So if people can learn about this law, if people can know how it goes and the ethics that are put in place by the law, the better it will be for everyone. So
let's not just be launching that we now have the enactment regulations were just put in force the other day, and we feel like we have a good Data Protection Act, but then we don't even understand what this. Perhaps this is why we even have so many cases, much as we have law in place. And again, when you look still, let me just take on that data bit, because while I was preparing for this, I came across data that showed in the 54 African countries in the African continent. And of course, different countries have reached different places as far as enforcing data protection is concerned. But as we speak, only 15 countries in the African bloc have data protection law. And the World Bank was saying that this is one of the biggest also challenges as far as reaching the digital economy by 2030 in the African continent is concerned. So then you're talking about bridging the digital gap, but still cyber security is a big issue. Brian, from where you sit, even just as an expert in this area, what more do we really need to be doing? Because there's so much to say about let's bridge the digital divide. We're going to be launching digital superhighways and hotspots everywhere, but how safe am I?
Well, again, your safety is dependent on your level of knowledge.
This still boils down to just your understanding, the level of awareness. You
have to understand it, because now the digital wave is here. When technology comes, you can say, you know what, hold on, I'm not ready for you. No,
Let me just go ahead and understand.
Whenever it comes, it sweeps all along. If you're left behind by it, that's your problem. Because actually, even when you look on onto how we interact right now with, let's say, money,
Yeah.
We don't need to queue at the banks anymore.
And COVID really did show how that's...
Yes, exactly. Meetings, online, everything. So technology is up to par. Technology is changing every second. And if you're not if you're not updated, it will leave you behind. And when you're left behind, and now even when it comes to economically, you're still behind. But now the thing is,
yes,
you need to understand how can I use this safely and to my advantage, because when you look at it again, it's a double-edged sword. It can help you massively, or it can destroy you totally.
To a point of no return.
Yes, your only saving grace is the level of knowledge that you have in terms of your data, in terms of how to use it, in terms of the ethics. If you have the necessary knowledge, if you know what is required of you, because I think you've seen YouTubers who are making it very big, even locally. So actually you will see that even the work environment... And
there's some who are complaining a lot about the platform.
Yes, so actually right now, even everything, when it comes to the work environment, everything has even changed. Because now you can just wake up, post a blog, and maybe like 100,000 just get into your account without even lifting a finger, without even getting off your... people like programmers, they work from home and they get, they are paid. Yes, they are paid very well. So we can say that technology is bad. No, but how do you use it? How do you understand it? Don't use what you don't understand.
It boils down to understanding. More like a double-edged sword.
Indeed.
I want us to make progress and talk even about upgrades, software upgrades, and antivirus. But before we get to do that, I just want us to look at some of a report. This is the report is dubbed Kenya's Digital Economy, a people's perspective. This was a report that was done in 2021, and this report revealed that 35% of women were found to use advanced digital services compared to 54% of men. Now, my understanding is, regardless of gender, anyone can be abused online or taken advantage of, just as you said, if they're not having the proper knowledge. But looking at this digital survey economy, which puts women more at risk, and the factors that were profiled in this particular survey include discrimination, harmful social norms, education divide, just what you're saying, education divide, geography, and lack of motivation. When you just look at this, does it put women more at a disadvantage compared to men, also borrowing from your practice and the people you've interacted with? Does it?
Yeah, to some point it does.
To what extent? Because, and why?
Because you see, just like I can give an example of cash transfers. Just like we've moved from queuing at the bank to transferring at the comfort of your own seat, gender-based violence has moved from now the physical aspect to the virtual aspect. I see what you're saying. It's all about the mentality, the mindset of the people, because the people who will do gender-based violence now, the millennials, we are the millennials who have come up, there's Generation Z. So now to them, they still have that aspect of, let's say, GBV, gender-based violence, but now they won't do it physically like the way the baby boomers did it. They will do it now in a virtual space. And that's a problem.
In an advanced form.
Yes, technological advanced form. And that's very wrong. It's still gender-based violence. So when it comes to things, I still believe that it's a mindset that people have. I mean, how can you just take your phone and attack someone online just because you're of the opposite gender, just because you have these beliefs which are very outdated, by the way? So that's a problem that we are facing. So gender-based violence has been transferred from the physical to the virtual space, and that's why you'll find out that most ladies are very vulnerable. And also now, for the ladies to protect yourselves, limit the amount of information that you put out. Because now someone cannot attack you based on what they don't know. People attack you based on what they know about you. If they know a certain weakness about you, that is what. So again, also to protect yourself as a lady, ensure that you put out limited information about you. Any person who will try to attack you, they won't have any grounds. They'll just launch just another general attack. But if at all you put so much on your platform such that people can come and see it, and they can attack you from it, those with twisted mindsets. Now, that is what they will use against you. Yeah.
I hear you. So then it's one thing to really do say that limit what you put out. And makes a lot of sense, because you've said something very important, that whatever one doesn't know about you, they can't use it against you. I mean, they don't know. But a case in point, even the content creators, the ladies who are content creators, and now you're saying that you can even you can, but you would make good money in the digital space, even as a content creator. We have some who would even bring on board their children. This could be ladies and women, but this is their job. This is what they do for a living. How do you demarcate? How do you draw the line between what I put on to the public and what I don't? And even take a case in point, the celebrities, even journalists, for example. Just how do you where do you draw that line?
So, just like we have a code of ethics in our physical workplaces, there are code of ethics in the virtual spaces. Yeah. If I can take an example, if let's say I am a content creator, and I post very, very personal things, what do you think will happen? People will have a lot of my personal information. But if I am a content creator and I am posting, like, let's say, maybe let's say a talent, maybe let's say I'm a good basketball player, or I'm a good singer. I post my singing online, and people see it and they get to upload it. Of course, there are those who will, comment in the other way. So if you can follow the work ethics in the digital space, avoid personal interactions with people you don't know
as much as you can.
As much as you can. Just be commercial or casual about it. Don't be personal about it. That is the most important thing that you can do. And even, like, let's say when you're for the people who are maybe like bringing in their kids also on the platforms, well, it's not wrong. It's not wrong, because now again, remember that at this age, influence is key. If you can influence people,
it's actually the influencers. This is their job.
Yes. And actually, we'll see that these influencers are being used to maybe advertise things. They are being used. So influence is very key in this age. But again, there is a limit to the amount of content, or to the kind of content that you put out there. If you can just have the ethics to put in very, like, basic commercial things that you're doing instead of personal things, the better it will be for you.
I hear you. So then stick to the basics. Stick to what exactly you do.
Stick to what exactly you do.
Don't go to the in-depth, the nitty-gritties.
Yes.
It's not necessary.
Yes.
I hear you.
And that's why you will find that there are some content creators who will, like, let's say, for example, YouTube. There are some content creators who you will see, they will even get the silver button just by doing the very basic things, but doing them very well. And the others who are going to the extreme end of disclosing their personal space so that they can get maybe that silver button, but now at what cost? Makes a lot of sense. Now let's make progress on this one, Brian. We talk about still on the safeguards. We look at software upgrades, antiviruses, and I was just telling you off air that even I am a victim. You get your phone and it will be telling you after some time you need to upgrade the software, and you say, I'll just upgrade it. First of all, what is the importance of this upgrading of the different gadgets that one uses? Could be in terms of the phone as far as software is concerned, even your PC, your laptops, desktop, and all of that. And does it go a long way in protecting your data? Why is it important? Well, first of all, I will look at it from both ends, from the manufacturer side and from the consumer side. When it comes at the manufacturer and consumer relationship, the reason why these upgrades come in, first of all, it's to make your use of the gadget to be easier. So it's easy interaction with that gadget. And actually, you will find out that most tech companies focus on disruption. By disruption, I mean easier, faster, better. That's why these software upgrades come up. So if I can just access this with a simple tap of a button, the better it is, instead of me having to do the USSD. Like, for example, when the M-Pesa app came in, when the M-Pesa app came in, you find out that even banking services are there, travel services are there. Everything is within one app. Instead of you just picking your phone and you're like, hello, can I book a ticket and everything? So those upgrades are necessary to make life easier, to make interaction easier, and to make transaction better and faster. Because now if it is easier, faster and better, the more productivity increases and the more they earn. On the other end, when it comes to the consumer side, there's also some protection bit. Okay. There's also some protection.
So it goes a long way.
Yes.
All right.
There's also some protection bit, because you'll find out that, of course, you're never in a vacuum.
True.
You're never in a vacuum. If you create a software, there's someone somewhere who's trying to find a vulnerability in that software and hack it. Yeah, and if they hack it, they get your data, and they do a lot many other things like transactions. Now, the software upgrades will also help you. There's this thing known as a firewall. A firewall is like a protection against intruders. Yeah. So any viruses that are trying to be launched, and viruses are basically programs which have been written to override the main program. So any program that has been written to override the main program, what will happen is that the firewall will block it. Yeah, because also the firewall is also a program. So the firewall will be like, no, you're not supposed to be here. Yeah. Get out. Okay. So that's where those upgrades are also very important. The other thing, now when it comes to upgrades, you also have to be careful about them. You need to understand what is it telling me to upgrade. Yeah, like for example, if I can take an example of, let's say, maybe like Google Maps. Right now there's an upgrade whereby you can use it offline. So let's say you even go to a place whereby there's no internet coverage, you can still use it offline and you can get to your destination. That's a good upgrade. But now there are other upgrades which will upgrade in order to get your data, in order to know what it is that you're doing, in order now for them to know how can we make sure that we capture your attention so that you don't leave our platform.
All right.
Yes.
So just be very careful even as you do that.
Yes.
But I think that message is home.
Yeah.
That when you look at upgrade software, upgrades, antiviruses, not just for your quickness in how you're using the gadget, but also for your own protection as a consumer.
Yes.
Now, we have just a minute to go.
Yes.
And I want you to just speak to Kenyans who are listening, and also just what perhaps governments, institutions can be able to do to even just protect their own, protect consumers as far as data infringement and privacy is concerned. I was just telling you how almost every institution you go, you have to either leave your name, ID, just there's so many details around, leaving your details within one place. So then what more can they do to just protect these individuals, even their employees, consumers altogether?
Okay. So basically what they can do is, first of all, if, for example, you have a company setup or organizational setup, educate your employees. If, for example, it's in a school setup, like in my setup, I'm in Crawford International School, I try as much as possible to educate the students on how they can protect themselves against such attacks, such as cyberbullying, on how not to give too much data. About the citizens, for the citizens, now they can maybe like watch shows like this in order now to know how exactly can you protect yourselves, because I'm pretty sure there's someone who didn't know that if someone sends you a wrong text message, you can sue them.
Like, I didn't know, now I know.
Exactly. Yes. So if at all you can seek knowledge from every platform that you get, be it from your organization, from newspapers, take even the Constitution, read about the data laws, understand them. If you're, again, in a company setup, educate your employees about it. If you're in a school setup, educate your students about it. Because the government I know the government is doing as much as possible to ensure that it gets this information to the public. I hear you. Well said. I mean, there's really quite a lot we could have conversed around this issue. There's so much as far as data is concerned, and even just getting to the laws, but we are really strapped for time, and you have to cap it at this particular point. Nonetheless, thank you so much for your time, Brian, and your valuable inputs into this topic. Thank you.
Asante. I have been speaking to Brian Kimani Nganga. an entrepreneur, techpreneur, and innovator. What has definitely formed center of our discussion is looking at this safeguarding the digital space. Of course, this is just tying it down with the data protection law, which was enacted in 2019, regulations which came after in 2021, and just how you and I are safe as far as using the digital space is concerned. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya. From me and on behalf of the entire team, we say thank you so much. Till tomorrow. Good morning.